Reggie Sweat has lost a total of 25 pounds and kept it off with a combination of extended fasting and OMAD. So, thank you for being here today, Reggie. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell people who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. Um, well, what I do for a living, I'm a full time sales executive. I work from home and I'm in the professional hygiene business of all things. Not not too sexy, but it's all about keeping clean in our company. And also, I'm a full time caregiver for my mom who had a stroke about over 20 years ago, and she is right side paralyzed and can only say 4 words. So, yeah, it's quite a challenge. And now, for the last 3 years, I have her under the same roof with me. And she had lost her spouse, and so I wouldn't have it any other way but be able to take care of her. So she can have the best life, going into her later years.
That's awesome. That's such a work of love, I bet.
Definitely. And, a work of patience that I had to learn on my end.
Right. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey with weight loss? Like, how did you find success with weight loss and what do you do?
Well, okay. So the journey, I mean, I will say it began in my 20s. So I'm 49 now. And I found that I was just gaining weight unusually because I worked out a lot, and I used to be in the military, so I was in the Air Force, and so it was all about working out. I was very young when I started that regimen of running on a regular basis. I was 17 when I went into the service. So I never really had a problem with weight until my mid to late 20s. And uh, there was something that happened to me. Well, my great grandmother, for one. I come from a family of women that are very slender. And when I mean slender, they're at about 105, 110 pounds. And so I'm the largest of this line of women generations. And I think I was around 128 to 130 pounds at the time in my 20s. And I found that my clothes were just getting tight. I didn't understand what was going on. But what happened with my great grandmother, she hit me on the butt. And she says, "Oh, Gina," because they call me Gina, is my family name. And she said, "You're getting fat. What's going on?" Mind you, she's in her 90s at this time. So whatever grandma says, goes, and that's okay. So, but I felt like it scarred me. I just thought, oh my God, I am getting fat. And I started doing the wrong things about the diet. So I started getting into the weight loss pills, which not a good thing, but I did it for a few years. And um, I got my weight down to probably about 116 pounds, which was probably a little bit too slender for me. But I thought that was the look. I came out of California, which Hollywood land, and a lot of vanity. And I'm the first to say I am pretty vain in that sense, just because you felt the pressure of to stay slim in Los Angeles. So taking those pills, and but then I was eating what I still wanted to eat, and that didn't make sense because I was eating a lot of junk food and going out and hanging out and partying and alcohol, and but of course the weight would stay down under those circumstances. So as time went on in my 30s, I settled down from that. I stopped doing the weight loss drugs, and I mean, and when I mentioned that, actually went to a doctor. And on top of that, and I have taken over the counter weight loss pills, like fat burners and all that. And I know there's some natural versions of it, but I thought I had to stay on it forever to keep the weight down. So
Mhm.
definitely mentally not okay. And so I had to work through that. And I know it was something emotional going on for me to even end up there. So in my 30s, I just felt like I had a hormone imbalance issue, insulin resistance, constant battle for the next decade and well into my 40s. And probably in the last couple of years, I had a hysterectomy. Now I'm just being very transparent, and
Right.
uh, that in itself was a catalyst for more weight to go up. And I said, okay, this is it. I got to figure out something. So I changed my diet. Started out okay to the extreme, being vegan. I was vegan for about a year, and then I became vegetarian because I wanted some fish and added in the eggs. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a good thing. But I was eating all these carbs, and I'm like, beans, rice, pasta, still doing all of that because that's where I came from with the vegan mindset, and gaining more weight. I'm like, oh my God, this has got to stop, and kept gaining the weight. So when I moved my mom into my house about 3 years ago, she has a junk food diet, and
Mm.
she likes the comfort food. She wants the meat, potatoes, all the high carb foods you can find, and sugar. And so started creeping into my diet again. And so I started binging, or basically looking around the cabinets in late at night hours, and and of course weight continued to go up. So that's where basically it went from there. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. So what was your highest weight? If you don't, or if you don't want to say that, like how much have you lost total?
Sure. My highest weight was probably about 143 pounds. And for someone who's always been like a size 2 or 1, um, to me, it was extreme for me. And it felt like I was hiding something, whatever was going on in my mindset. I felt that I was didn't want to be looked at in a way.
Mm.
So on the side, I've always done broadcasting and red carpet events, entertainment stuff, and I just stopped going to auditions. I stopped doing any of that because I was having major anxiety, panic attacks, and so again, that weight just continue on. So yes, I was about 143 was probably my highest,
Mm.
and now I'm at about 122 is where I hover around. Yeah.
Mm. And so, what is your daily routine like?
Daily routine. Well, now, so I s- hmm. First, I'll just say that when I first lost the initial 15 pounds, is where I started in the first 2 weeks of changing my diet. I
Mm.
decided to go low carb and almost keto, but not really because I don't go that high in fat. I mean, it's not the highest of my macros. Um, Although I love my cheese, so I do eat that. So on a regular basis. And so my routine starts out where I weigh myself every day. I have to be accountable. It just works for me. Some people think it's, extreme. I don't believe it is extreme. I think it's just being honest with yourself because I know it'll go awry pretty fast. I mean, in a
Right.
couple of days, I'm already gaining 5, 6 pounds. It'll be a catastrophe. So I weigh myself first thing in the morning, and I record it in my phone app. And every month, I mean, I have a sheet that's filling up, and I say exactly what I eaten the night before. I also write down if a little bit TMI, if I had a BM or not. So, and that always, because constipation is real, right?
Mm. Right.
It's real. And that's always been a struggle for me. So I can imagine after a couple of days of not going,
Mm.
the weight's not accurate. It's just not. So and so I want to know what's happening in the past few days if something did go up for me. So it's just accountability. And
Mm.
so I go and walk. I do a lot of walking like you do. And I go outside quite a bit, but depending on the weather, I'm in the desert in Nevada.
Mm.
And you never know what's going to happen in the winter. It actually snowed here, by the way, twice. And
Oh,
it's kind of surprising. And I mean, there was a snow day for people in school. So we're like, well, snow day in the desert. It's really funny. So I do go in the gym and do the treadmill otherwise. And what I do is some intervals. I do 2 or 3 minute running, sprinting type intervals, and then I walk the rest. So I usually end up 4 to 5 miles a day. And when I start my day, I usually drink a apple cider vinegar cocktail that I like to call it. And I put the apple cider vinegar, lemon water, lemon juice, and a little bit of cayenne pepper. And I found that that curbed my appetite for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
See, originally, when I started out the change of the weight process journey, I was doing the salts in the water, the electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't so hungry, and I discovered that in the snake diet channel. Looking around all these channels and trying to figure out what is going to work for me. So, and that did work for me for the first initial month or two. That's what I was doing. But what I really found out, what I love, is dry fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And dry fasting daily. And so what I would do is replenish my water and drink that with my dinner. So I apologize. You might have heard a beep. And my door. Um, so so what I'm saying is usually I'm day dry fasting, and then I drink the water with my dinner. So I've gone down to basically OMAD diet. So I'm 1 meal a day. And that is what I feel that my body is acclimated to that and it's adjusted really well. And I really don't feel hungry in the mornings at all.
So was there a particular moment where you decided to lose weight? Like, was there a particular thing? I know that you told the story about your grandma, but like when you were, that was many years later, right? When you really had gotten up to a weight, was there a moment where you just decided to change, or was it just kind of something you came to gradually?
Well, yes and yes. It was gradually that the weight was coming on, and I kept having the internal talk with myself that something's got to change. And I kept adjusting with the diet, like going to the veganism, going to the vegetarianism, all those things. But I really am a meat eater. And so the one time that I will say this last go around, because every decade it was different for how I was going about on the weight loss. So now that I'm approaching 50, I had to do it differently than I did 15, 20 years ago. So the deciding factor for me is seeing myself in photos.
Mm.
I saw myself in photos. Oh my gosh, I could see it. I take it a lot in my face and in the stomach area. And I just kept covering up myself and not wanting to take pictures. And when I saw myself in the last photo where I made the change, and I think I was sitting with my brother, and he's very slender and tiny. He's a millennial, so he can eat whatever he wants. And that's when I said, okay, that's it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to eat the same way. And I found that the fasting and going in that direction was right for me. And so, and people call it intermittent fasting, right? So I call it extreme intermittent fasting. So basically, I ended up going into 22-hour fast daily and give myself a 2-hour window to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's any challenges that you're still facing when it comes to weight loss, or you're maintaining right now? So is there any challenge there?
Always. It's always a challenge. I always say this is a lifestyle and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And just because you may have gotten to your target weight doesn't mean that it's not a struggle to maintain it.
Mm.
And I think that's where people may get that wrong in their mind, and they say, "Oh, you're skinny, you're fine." Trust me, it's a process every day. I have to decide every morning that I'm going to stick to my program that works for me so I can maintain my weight. If I don't,
Right.
a couple of days, again, it goes awry very easily. So
Right.
I still struggle with sugar. I want chocolate. I usually eat a little piece of chocolate every day that I thought would work. It does work, dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
But when the hormones kick in, or when I have a very stressful day, I start to graze. Now, I may still do it in my 2 hour window, but I
Mm,
can do a lot of damage in that 2 hour window with the chocolate or uh, a big chunk of cheese. That kind of thing is been my go-to um,
mm,
type snacks. So it can easily get out of hand. I just have to commit. You have to commit every day and
right.
just say to yourself, okay, this is a new day. And even if I mess up the day before, it's okay. I'm going to pick up the next day and start fresh again. You know,
Right.
that's the
Right.
great thing about it. You can always start over. You know.
So good. What is one piece of advice you give to someone else who's on their weight loss journey?
Okay, great question. So I would say if you're starting a weight loss routine or diet journey, everything, or at least one diet does not work for all. You don't have to do what your friend's doing. You don't have to do it the way your mother's doing it. Everyone's different. Your body's different. So you have to figure out what works for you. So there will be a lot of trial and error, and that's what I found. And the other thing is I would suggest is please be kind to yourself. It's okay because we all fall off the wagon all the time. We're human, right? So you have to just celebrate the small successes instead of trying to get to this big, goal. It doesn't mean that you are failing just because you may had gained 5 pounds over 1 week, but then you lost 10 pounds the next week. That to me is a great success
Mm,
because whatever was going on at that time that you did gain the weight, there was a reason for it. So every day is different. So just be kind to yourself and remember that one size does not fit all when it comes down to the diet.
perfect. So, is there any question that I didn't ask you that you wish I would have?
Hmm. Let's see. We all struggle, and maybe someone may have 100 pounds to lose, and maybe someone may, like myself, I had maximum 25 pounds, maximum.
Mhm.
But uh, it doesn't mean that that person's challenge isn't just as hard as the other one with more weight to lose.
Right.
So I would say there's a lot of us that struggle just to be maintained, but also to be helped. And maybe the question I would say is it's really about health for me instead of just trying to get to this number. Health is the biggest thing. And there was one more deciding factor on that. I did go to the doctor, and that other point that I wanted to make about it is that I was told that I was borderline pre-diabetic. And
Oh,
and I said, how is that? And your A1C was a little higher than where they wanted to be. And that was a deciding factor. The other thing is I had stomach issues and I had a little touch of colitis.
mm,
So as soon as they said, well, you can have some medication. When I heard that, I was like, that's it. That's it. Medication is a no go. And so I want to do it as naturally as possible.
right.
And I think that if people search for that, food is medicine, whole foods is medicine, not junk food, but not processed food. Uh, I think that if people just go back to the basics,
Mhm.
real food, then uh, then that's where it starts with healing uh, the health of what we did to ourselves in America and overindulging in junk food.
Right.
So I don't think it was a question you did not ask that I like to ask, but I thought I'd just add that in.
Sure, great. Um, and how long did it take you to lose the weight? Did you, I can't remember if you said exactly, like from your heaviest down to when you started maintaining.
Okay. My heaviest down, well, the first 2 weeks were the initial 15 pounds. So that was like
Wow.
90% of the goal. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I did on those 2 weeks is I did for the first week, I did first 48 hours off the bat. I did a fast. Uh,
Mhm.
now, yes, I'm an extremist, and that's why I said not everybody's routine is going to work for them. So I'm just saying what happened in my case. Excuse me. it's the 48 hours I did, and then I did OMAD the rest of the days of that week, and then I'd hit another 48 hour and fast and did the OMAD. And then gradually I moved into the dry fasting on a daily basis. So I basically went to my, I'll say it was 30 days that I actually hit my target
Oh,
weight.
wow.
Yeah. But again, the challenge is, can you maintain it?
Right.
Every day is different. And you
Right.
have to give yourself some fluctuation there, because there will be 5 to 6 pounds that you may fluctuate.
If people would like to connect with you, what is the best way they can do that?
Yes. Well, you have inspired me, and I even mentioned you on one of my own videos. I have a baby, I call it a baby YouTube channel, and it's called Reg Edited, and it's one word, Regeditted. And the reason why it's called that is because myself, Reggie, I'm always in editing mode, editing myself, improving myself. I'm trying. That's what we all want to do, is strive to improve, so I could be better health for my mom to be able to take care of her, because my health was ailing a little bit there and letting myself go. And it's not just about me, it's about making sure you take care of your responsibilities. But at the same time, you want to take care of yourself so you can still enjoy life for the long term, right? So, Reg Edited is where anyone can come and check me out there, or you can find me on Instagram on under Reg Edited as well. And but I have to say to you that you are the biggest inspiration of a channel that I've seen. It's just nice. It's so nice to see that you're not screaming at us for doing something wrong, and you've just been so real and honest. There's a lot of other channels that I met, like a Sun Kissed Keto, um, and other channels that are just wonderful people, and I just love them all. And it's just nice to have a community that everybody is really on the same path of taking care of themselves. That's what it's about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Reggie, and for sharing your story with us.
Oh, I appreciate it, and thank you for having me. We'll keep
Okay.
watching you.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. And if you have an intermittent fasting success story that you'd like to share, please reach out to me at Kayla@sixmilestosupper.com. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it helpful. If you're currently trying to lose weight and you're just having a hard time, check out my Slow and Steady Success Academy. There you'll find a course called Intermittent Fasting for Weight Loss 101, where I take you through the entire process from start to finish and how to implement intermittent fasting successfully in your life for weight loss. The link is in the description. The All Access Pass to Slow and Steady Success Academy is a monthly subscription plan that gets you access to every course that is currently available in this academy, as well as any that will become available in the future. Also, you'll get access to our private All Access Pass members only Facebook group.